Marvel Comics, Marvel Cinematic Universe, doubleheader video taking a look at Colossus versus Juggernaut, Marvel 80 Years, and MCU Luis and Ghost from Antman and the Wasp. Two figures I never thought would see the light of day, especially Luis. Second appearance here of Ghost. Everybody here has had a figure before except for Luis. So let's go ahead and take a look at these awesome looking figures. Man, that's on point, that face print. All right, sorry, enough gushing. Let's move on. I mean, looking at these four, this is some bang for your buck. Especially here, $60 set for these two. Juggernaut previously was a Build-A-Figure. For those of you that missed out, this one's a little more streamlined. The earlier look, no belt, cleaner, less textured dome. Alternate hands, alternate head, same with Colossus with alternate hands. And then these two, $40 set, I think? I could be wrong, but again, characters I never thought would see the light of day. Luis here being the only one who's never had another character. So let's take a look at him first. Boom, Michael Pena all up in your face, looking fantastic. Although mine has a little mark on his forehead. I can't really see that in person though. I'm seeing it here on camera. Michael Pena though, is this his first Michael Pena action figure? I think so. Look at that, ex-con. Let's see if we could get a focus on that. Security consultants, looking clean. Yeah, Luis was created for the MCU, then made his way into the comics. So that's a little trivia for you. I'm sure you guys know that though. But God, this face print tech is so good. I say that every time. I mean, can't gush about it enough. This looks great. Suited body. Let's get some khaki pants, shoes. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm sure we've seen this before. So the jacket is a separate piece. The sleeves, I'm sure we've seen before. His arms look a little long now that I see that. But I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure it's been part of our, could be Nick Fury, could be all that. Let me know in the comments since I am blanking hard. Morrissey Lovin, Luis, a figure again I never thought we would see in plastic form. Looking awesome. Luis himself comes with, let's quickly bring it up, Hank Pym's building, which is awesome. So if you have a little pigeon accessory, you can put that on top. This looks great. Look at that, very detailed. Unfortunately, no wheels, no actual rolling mechanics there. This is clean. This looks good. This is the top of the building, all the air conditioning ducts and stuff like that. This also does go up and down, although not all the way, but it's still pretty cool they added this functionality. So I don't know how much more detail you'd want that to be, but he also comes with an ant. Just because it wouldn't be an Antman and the Wasp set without some sort of ant or tiny thing. So, but yeah, not much else. It's a very plain figure. Again, you know, you could do your best Luis impression and recap all the Marvel Legend figures that came out this year. It would go on forever. But yeah, this is looking good. So let's take a look at how Luis moves for an average figure. Head is naturally on ball peg and hinge. Given that he has no long hair really, can look up pretty far. His Adam's apple sculpted in there. Have we seen that before? You know, he's looked down that far. Barely any tilt. Shoulders, oh man, they're kind of hindered because of the way the suit arm is molded there. So it can only go up, can it go up that far? Yeah, that's it. Full rotation naturally. He's got a bicep cut. Double jointed elbows. They go pretty far. He had a little cell phone accessory. Swivel and hinge at the wrist. See what he got. I think he has, if we could see, is there ab crunch? I can't get in there. Can't get in there, but he's bending somewhere. I don't know if it's because of a diaphragm, and there's a twist in there. God, I really want to scrunch this up, but I mean, you would have to cut this if you need to take a closer look, if it's that serious to you. Legs can't really go too forward or too far back. He's got a thigh swivel. When lifting this leg, I popped it out, and now it can't, it's not resting all the way. Double jointed knees. Hinge. Oh man, does this? Not that far. And the pivot, of course. So again, pretty plain guy, pretty plain figure. Hilarious in the movie though. Awesome, lovable guy, lovable character. Let's get him next to a couple of his castmates. Here he is next to Antman himself, Scott Lang. Here he is next to Hope Pym, aka the Wasp. So that's pretty much Luis, the plainest figure out of these 2 packs. Plain not being a bad thing, because I mean, what more would you want out of a Michael Pena action figure who doesn't have any superpowers and is completely just likable based on the personality. So can't translate personality into toys. So this is about as plain of an action figure as you can get out of these 2 packs. Plain not being a bad word. I mean, this character is completely reliant on his personality. No superpowers, friend of Antman, awesome character. So how deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go when it comes to supporting characters? I mean, the villain of the movie, Ghost, takes a turn at some point, but okay, we got the villain. You know, now we got the friend or the former cellmate and coworker. Do we want the rest of the ex-con crew? Do you want a Cassie Lang? I would like a Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, either as old, you know, with her cool armor that she made in the quantum realm, Hank Pym in his quantum suit, or a retro throwback pack with Hank Pym as Antman and Janet as the Wasp. Anyway, let's move on to Ava. Ava Up In Your Face, aka Ghost, played by Hannah Jo Kamen, I believe. Hannah John Kamen, I think. Looking great again. Photoreal. Doing work, man. You know, in just a short, what was it, about a year? I think the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 figures, Gamora and Nebula, were the first to have this tech. And that wasn't that long ago. And I think we've come a long way. And I think they keep nailing it on the female figures. So yeah, again, enough gushing. Looking great here. Again, a figure I never thought we'd see again. Would we ever see this character again in the MCU? I don't know, but she comes with. Actually, let's just look at the detail because I want to call some things out. This suit looks awesome. This is a fantastic looking suit. Minor texture details in different locations. Kind of a texture there on her thighs and her backside. Man, this looks good. These feet look super tiny though. I think they look really tiny even for her. You know, I don't know the character's feet, and I'm not gonna look up the character's feet, actress's feet, and I doubt they were being consistent. I think this is just how the sculpt ended up. But real quick, she comes with obviously her masked head in the package, which looks awesome, man. Easy to come off, easy to pop on and off rather. So unmasked head and a hood, and I love details like this. We need to keep detail like that. You can't just have an unmasked head with no hood. Look at that. Great, man. This is clean. This is a clean looking figure. And I noticed at least in my experience, a lot of these new 80, I mean, I don't think they're considering the MCU figures 80-year anniversary, but a lot of them are clean. These paint apps are clean. So I know there are a few more dollars, but you are getting what you pay for. So I want to put her back here. So she has had a character, a Marvel Legend before. I'm dropping stuff. And this was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive in the Thunderbolt set. So yeah, Ghost was a male in the comics. I also don't think it was an Ant-Man villain at all. But hey, wherever you can squeeze in these villains into these MCU films, into the MCU is all right with me. So Ghost came with an alternate head. Check it out. It's on a bad body. I mean, aesthetically, I think it looks cool, man. That is awesome. Both these figures are great. But yeah, this is on an old body. I'd like to see a redo of this. And I don't know if we will. Let's just admire this briefly. My only fear is clear plastic tends to go brittle. I don't know why that is. Any smart people care to explain? But it doesn't feel as weak as it's not like gummy like Iceman, but it feels like, I don't know how to explain it. If I dropped it, it could crack or something. It's not glass. I'm not saying it feels like glass, but yeah, this Ghost came again in the Thunderbolt set. Luke Cage, a few other figures who are slipping my mind, female figures. Looking great. Coincidentally, Juggernaut was in the Thunderbolts, so you can have this Ghost with that. All right, now going back to MCU Ghost, this figure, I mean, the hood is obviously going to hinder any articulation going up, but again, ball peg on a hinge. Potentially could look up that far and down that far, but with this head, it's going to be hindered by the hood, and it's going to push the head back up and back down. So let's try, again, theoretically, you're supposed to put this on and her unmasked head, which I don't know if her hair was like that, or did they just sculpt it like this for the toy? I don't know. But again, still no real range. At least you can go down and look down quite a bit. Shoulders go pretty far, much more than Luis. Of course, you get a full 360. No bicep cut at all. And although the elbow is single jointed, this hinge reminds me of Black Series, so you get a little more than 45 here, which is pretty good. This is pretty good. I'm not going to complain about this. And wrist is on a hinge and swivel. Mine might be stuck. There we go. Hinge and swivel. You get a diaphragm joint. Back that far. Forward this far. Moving on to the legs. Forward this far. Back only so far. Thigh cut. You can match it up with the pattern of her suit. Looking great. Double jointed knees. No boot cut. And again, these really tiny feet have some great range though on the hinge, and there is a pivot. So aside from the comic book Ghost here, the Antman MCU set of action figures is growing, and they look great. Man, they all look good together. So I enjoyed Antman and the Wasp. I'm sure a lot of you did too, and I'm really happy with this set. Again, how far down the rabbit hole do we really need to go for supporting characters though? Again though, give me either a retro Wasp and Ant-Man set, Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, or elderly Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. I'll take them both. All right, let's move on to Juggernaut and Colossus. So here we are, the better of the two packs, in my opinion, and that is because of X-Men bias, no shame, Colossus and Juggernaut. Looking awesome. I know we've gotten a Juggernaut before, for those of you fortunate enough to complete the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave Juggernaut. But this looks more animated to me, and the no belt, the more streamlined look, looking awesome. And finally, classic Colossus in this suit, absolutely a must-have for your X-Men collection. Now the tallest of the X-Men figures. I mean, you guys who own Juggernaut know how tall Juggernaut is. Look at him here, his Colossus. And as I was putting these two here, I was just thinking, you know, now that Fox is with Disney, maybe we'll see some throwback and get some Deadpool 2 merchandise. I know before they didn't want to make figures necessarily to advertise those movies and get money in Fox's pockets. But now that we're all one big family, I'd like to see an updated X-Men movie, Colossus, and Juggernaut. I mean, the Jailbird Juggernaut. I know there's a lot of customizers who did fantastic work in making that Deadpool 2 Colossus, Juggernaut, but man, I would love one from Hasbro. So, all right, let's take a look, starting with Juggernaut. So again, we've seen this figure before, but that is okay. Again, X-Men love, X-Men bias. Don't come to me if you want an opinion where you don't buy this figure or this set. I'm going to tell you otherwise. Growing up, again, X-Men fan, X-Men mark, awesome. Look how smooth that dome is. The original was a little lumpy. Oh man, what is this from? No! I hate this toy. I'm just kidding though. No belt, looking clean. Colors are a little brighter. And we'll bring out the old Juggernaut in a second. So let me adjust that. Boots have a little texture to them. These are still a little loose. Keep them on the bicep. Backside, looking good. Oh my goodness, I did not even see this. This is out of the package, by the way. Sorry, I'm not going to be taking a lot of Juggernaut butt shots, so here he is here. So here he is with his Build-A-Figure companion. As you can see, the notable differences are color, the belt, the size and shape of the helmet, and the texturing of the helmet. Face is pretty much still disgusting and terrible to look at. Dude needs to see a dentist. Oddly enough, is he supposed to have a chipped tooth? I always thought like mine was just painted poorly, but he's also has that same chipped tooth there. I gotta go back and look at the art. Anyway, but still, you know, for those of you fans of the X-Men animated series, Marvel vs. Capcom, all that stuff are the X-Men fighting games. I forget the names, but fantastic and so much bang for your buck. This figure, obviously being a Build-A-Figure, head, arms, legs, torso, all that stuff. Not necessarily any extra pieces. This guy comes with extra hands, which are gigantic, and I'll show right now, and an extra head, and an extra helmet. So let's take a look at those pieces. So these are huge. These are huge. For some scale, look at that. That is some good use of plastic there. Open hands, kind of like a gripping hand. Regardless, these have to be the stubbiest looking pegs, and they go on fairly easily. But man, this is a lot of plastic for hands, for extra hands. These look great. Look at the detail, fingernails. Although not painted a different color, that's all right. Again, I like my animated figures or my comic figures looking bright and colorful. Unmasked head, really gross looking. Dude is an ugly guy. Look at that mug. Again, it looks like that tooth is, yeah, I guess I just never noticed that. Black Eye, Colossus giving him the beat down. Here's the other helmet. And although it isn't as smooth, that's because it's beat up. It's got like, you know, some scratches and marks and scuffs. It has this little lip there to kind of clip on. So when you put the figure on, when you put the helmet on the figure and the head on the figure, it'll just stay pretty nicely. They got the silver paint here. I like to think it's just, you know, like any toothing. Even though Colossus is organic, he's still metal. I like to think, you know, his metal was rubbing off here on the helmet. But yeah, so look at that. Let's just go ahead and pop that on him now. So you can see, look at that little peg for that big freaking figure. It's a close up of the head again. Awesome, smooth, fantastic. So you can either put this on all in one go or just put the head on and the helmet on right after, but here he is. I have to find a way to get him in my shot. Yeah, man, that looks great. Charles, no. And again, just to demonstrate the hands, pop right off. Very, very stubby looking peg. The hole isn't even too deep, but there we go. Stop. Sorry, I'm just playing with the toy at this point. Looking awesome. He's had enough. Please stop. But let's take a look at his articulation now. So back to his dome head. You can get him looking up that far, so you can have him crouch down a bit. Looking down, not too far. There's some tilt, just obviously because of the shape. So this looks great. Full rotation at the shoulders. They go up that far. Look at that, awesome. He has a bicep cut rather, and then these move up and down, but just kind of get him in the thickest part of his biceps and triceps there. Single jointed elbow. And for all shapes of hands, he has a hinge and swivel on the fisted and open hands. Juggernaut has a huge, gigantic crunch, ab crunch. Go forward this far, back this far. Waist articulation, and like the Hulk, he'll have a big old gap there, but that's all right. Legs, so he has some thick thighs. He can really go up kind of that far, which isn't too bad for a giant figure, and back that far. Knees, single joint, only that far. No boot cut. No boot cut. His giant feet. These boots are textured nicely, by the way. Hinge and a fantastic swivel there. So let's get a couple other characters next to Juggernaut. Take a look how they stack up. So here he is next to Magneto. Here's Sabretooth next to him. We saw this at the beginning, but just in case, again, here's Colossus, his packmate with him. And just for fun, here he is with the most recent Marvel 80 Years Thor, Alex Ross art. Here he is next to Wolverine. Here he is next to the old Blob Build-A-Figure. The most recent Marvel 80 Years Hulk. Here he is with someone who actually dwarfs him, the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure. Here he is next to Mystique. Here he is next to Spider-Man. And I did this because I remember Juggernaut being in a Spider-Man comic. I think McFarlane was still drawing it at the time. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But God, they drew Juggernaut so massive. Spider-Man was seriously like tiny, dude. He was about the size of his head, flipping over him and stuff like that. And finally, the match you've all been waiting for. Here he is next to Baymax. So again, this Juggernaut figure is freaking fantastic. Definitely a must-have, even if you own the Build-A-Figure. I don't just don't pass it up. X-Men bias aside, don't pass it up. This set is awesome. All right, Colossus. Definitely my favorite figure in this pack. Long overdue, man. God, let's bring him closer. Look at that once it focuses. Look at that head sculpt. This looks clean, very stoic. Very awesome. True to the character. Man, they nailed it. The nice silver, lighter silver than the Colossus we got in the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure wave. The boots, paint there, a little splatter on mine. So much for all my figures being clean, and a little mark on the X there. So, backside, back muscles looking good. Not much detail, very solid primary colors on this figure, with the exception of the silver and the black, but awesome, man. Awesome, awesome. So he does come with extra pair of hands, which are fist. I like the open hands, but we'll show you. Let me show you the fists real quick. Okay. Stay down then. Awesome. Fists are looking good. Pop on pretty easily. So these come off. Be careful not to lose those. There you go. Ready to punch you out. Man, this dude is awesome. Can't get enough. Again, long time coming. So, just gonna admire him real quick. It's just gonna take a moment and admire that head sculpt some more. Oh man, my ears all chewed up. Looking good though. Very, very happy with this figure. I know some of these are often drawn a little longer. That might be like older giant size X-Men, but yeah, let's take a look at his articulation. So naturally his head is on ball and hinge. Can look up pretty far and down pretty far, really far, geez. Shoulders have full rotation. Can be slightly hindered here, so don't leave them posed like that too long. You might have a little, make these flip up. Can go up this high, up that high. Swivel at the bicep. Single jointed elbow. All hands have hinge and swivel. And he's got a killer ab crunch, forward and back. We also have waist swivel. Legs go this far forward, only that far back. Thigh cut, double jointed knees. You can't go up too far. You can go back quite a bit, and the pivot naturally. All right, we're gonna do some comparisons with important people in Colossus's life and enemies. So out of the core 90s X-Men team, I think Bishop was the tallest X-Men team. So don't talk about Cable, I'm talking about X-Men Gold and Blue. I think Bishop was previously the tallest figure. So here he is next to Bishop. Here he is dwarfing his sister, Ileana, aka Magic. Here he is also dwarfing Wolverine. Here he is next to the Blob. Here he is with Storm. Here he is with Psylocke. Here he is next to Sabretooth. Magneto. Finally, I wanted to do a comparison with the old Toy Biz Colossus, but mine literally rotted away. I mean, it got so gummy and sticky, there was no way I could keep that figure around. Bummer. So we'll go ahead and compare him to, and I would have anyway, the recent Hasbro release Colossus. So same height, darker skin tone. I mean, I don't know why the metal's so dark on this one. But they look good. This one I think is a little whiter. Is he whiter? Whiter. No, I mean, they're about the same, but they look rad. I think this, the suit makes him look slimmer, so. And finally, I know he was a stand-in for a lot of us collectors, the Marvel Select Colossus. I try to keep it Hasbro with Hasbro, but I mean, this guy is a fantastic figure still to this day. So if you prefer your Colossuses to be giant or a Colossus in size, then stick with the Select. This is it, Hasbro. I love it. So that's it for these two sets. Colossus being my favorite. Both of them, everything in the set, honestly, on these two sets are fantastic. Thank you so much for your likes, comments, subscriptions, all that stuff. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please like if you haven't. And check out my other videos. Tons more coming. Again, fortunate enough to have a network of people who got me the SDCC exclusives. So that's Retro Hulk, Sith Trooper, Boba Fett, the Overwatch Reinhardt alternate skin figure, all that good stuff. Plus, you know, whatever I ordered from NECA, Mezco. Yeah, man. And the X-Force set I had sent to my job for whatever reason on a weekend. I don't know why. I must not have been paying attention when I select shipping address. So tons more to come. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you. Till next time.